Hi, dear students, how are you? I hope you're fine. Today we are going to discuss section 2 operant conditioning in chapter 6 learning. So let's start. So, at section 2, here we are going to discuss the operant conditioning. The operant conditioning here, it's kind of learning by the psychologist B.F. Skinner. B.F. Skinner helped pioneer research into a form of learning known as operant conditioning. So, individuals learn here from the consequences of their actions. What does it mean? Here, operant conditioning here means that individuals learn from the consequences of their actions or the results of their actions. Operant conditioning depends on the use of reinforcements and a schedule to execute them. So, whenever here I'm talking about operant, I'm talking about the results. So the principles of operant conditioning can be applied to help people or animals learn to combine a series of simple steps or actions to form a complex behaviors. So let's discuss what we are talking about. Operant conditioning occurs when people or animals have learned to respond to a certain situation. Whenever happens or certain situation happens, so me as an individual or another animal here learn to respond. So this process is called what? Operant conditioning. So I'm going to know how are operant conditioning and reinforcement related. What are the main types of reinforcers? How do rewards and punishments shape learnings? How do schedules or of reinforcement influence learning? What are some applications of operant here learn? So, how can a squirrel to learn how to water ski? What do you think? So here they have Twiggy takes a ride behind the remote controlled power boat. Twiggy is a popular attraction at many boats show. So and I will send you a video about this. So in operant conditioning and reinforcement, here people and animals, as we said, learn to do certain things and not to do others because of what the main important word here is the results. So the operant conditioning here depends on the results. So they learn from the consequences of their actions. So if I'm doing something correct, so the results will be pleasant. So I'm going to do this again and again and again, and vice versa. In operant conditioning, voluntary responses are conditioned. So here the actions are voluntary. So B.F. Skinner studied operant conditioning by using the Skinner box. Who remembers Skinner box that I sent you the video last week about what about a mouse or a rat who was doing what, pressing the lever. Remember, whenever he pressed the lever, what happens? Food was given to him, and the first time he pressed the lever was accidentally, but after he recognized that whenever he pressed the food was granted to him. So what is he doing now? This experiment here demonstrated that reinforcement or reinforcement, yes, process by which a stimulus, food, increases the chances that a preceding behavior, a rat pressing the lever, will occur again. Knowledge of results is often all the reinforcement that people need to learn new skills. So if you are going to know the results, so you're doing and they are pleasant, I'm going to do the work again, or the behavior again and again. And I'm having here learned behavior. To Asian here businessmen bow to each other after a meeting in Asia. Bowing is an expected behavior that's learned through reinforcement. So describe how does the reinforcement result in operant conditioning? In operant conditioning, people and animals do what? Learn to do certain things. Why? Because results of what they do. Reinforcement increases chances that such behavior will occur again. Types of reinforcers. Yes, we have types for reinforcers: primary and secondary reinforcers. Primary reinforcers are reinforcers that function or perform due to the biological makeup of an organism. What about the secondary? And we will talk about here and we will say some examples to make it more clear. What about secondary reinforcer? Are learned by being paired with primary reinforcer. So money is a secondary reinforcer, right? Because we have learned that if it may be exchanged for primary reinforcers like food and shelter. Positive and negative reinforcers. So we talked about primary and secondary. Let's talk about the positive and the negative reinforcers. Positive reinforcer increases the frequency of a behavior, of course, positive one. So I'm going to increase my behavior because the positive reinforcement, the person receives something that he or she likes or wants following the behavior. What about the negative reinforcers? Increases the frequency of a behavior when they are removed. In negative reinforcement, a behavior is reinforced because something unwanted stops happening or is removed following the behavior. For example, if you are putting a belt around your dog's or head, and if your dog performed or did something that is good behavior, you will take off the belt from his head. So this is called what? Here this is called negative reinforcer. Okay, so in operant here, conditioning occurs when a learner's behavior is followed by a consequence or reinforcement. Positive reinforcement increases the frequency of a behavior when applied. Example, if you finish your homework early, you get to go to the movies as a reward. Negative reinforcement increases frequency of a behavior when removed. Example, to stop the buzzing sound in your car, you have to roll up the window. So, punishment decreases the frequency of a behavior. Example, your parents take your cell phone away for 1 day each week to lower your phone bill. So, to summarize this, describe the four main types of reinforcers, and this is a very good question. What about the rewards and punishments? Like the rewards here, like the positive reinforcement, is the same. Rewards help encourage learning. Some psychologists, however, prefer positive reinforcement because the concept of reinforcement can be explained without trying to guess what an organism will find rewarding. Punishments are quite different from negative reinforcement. Punishments are unwanted events that decrease the frequency of the behavior they follow. Punishments tend to work only when they are guaranteed. Most psychologists believe it's preferable to reward children for desirable behavior than punish them for unwanted behavior. So, guys, the rewards here, like positive reinforcement, okay, they encourage learning, but the punishments are unlikely the negative reinforcers because punishments here are unwanted events, decrease frequency of behavior they follow. So punishment here, most psychologists do not here prefer the punishments. They prefer the rewards because here punishments are not a good thing. So when punishment is a problem, psychologists point to several reasons for minimizing the use of punishment. They believe that in most cases, punishment is not the best way to deal with a problem. Punishment can create anger and hostility. Children who are punished may take out their anger on others. So if you are punishing a child, when he goes to school, he put on his anger on others, on other students, on his colleagues. Punishment does not in itself teach alternative acceptable behavior. A child may learn what not to do in a particular situation, but not what to do instead. So punishment is unfavorable thing. So severely punished people may try to leave the situation rather than change the behavior. So a child who is often punished may respond by simply running away. So this is very bad thing to follow the punishment. Punishment may have broader effects than desired. This can occur when people do not know why they are being punished and what's wanted from them. So if you want to punish somebody, you have to tell him why he has been punished for and what do you want from them. Punishment is sometimes accompanied by unseen benefits that make the behavior more, not less, likely to be repeated. For instance, some children may learn that the most effective way to get attention from their parents is to misbehave. What I'm talking about here, if parents are busy from their children, may children here misbehave to attract their attention. So here punishment may be imitated also as a way of solving problems. For example, children hit by angry parents may learn not only that they have done something wrong, but also that people hit other people when they are upset, and this is very, very, very extremely bad thing that will harm the society, not only the children. Which of these reasons do you feel is the strongest for not using punishment to shape behavior? I want you to think about it. So contrast here, explain how punishments are different from negative reinforcers. So the answer is negative reinforcer increase the frequency of a behavior by being removed. Whereas punishments here, when applied, decrease the frequency of the behavior they follow. So schedules of reinforcement, the effectiveness of reinforcement depends on a schedule of reinforcement, when and how often the reinforcement occurs. So we will talk about this in more details in the upcoming sessions. Thank you for listening. I hope you understood the lesson. Please don't forget to watch the other videos for the operant experiments. I sent you 2 or 3 videos about very, very funny and very, very effective experiments. Please watch the videos and to be discussed in the following sessions. Thank you for listening. Bye bye, my dear students.